Hello all, this is lesson number 8 called System Settings for the VariCAD training course. And this lesson ends the second chapter called Operation with VariCAD. Starting on the lesson number 9, we will start to see about 2D commands and 2D environment. But returning to this lesson, we are going to see about the configurations of the program. Some of them were already seen in past lessons, and some will be seen in future lessons. But anyway, we will see about a little of what we got on the settings. So, the first thing to see is where to change and where to manage these settings. And for that purpose, we should go to the menu Tools and look on the command that says System Settings. Okay? This command exists in both 2D and 3D and has a lot of options that we are going to see the majority. So we can see that the program has a general set of possibilities to control the software and then has specific configurations or settings only for the 2D and only for the 3D. Okay? Let us start to see the main ones. And the first one we have is these path names of VariCAD file settings, which is something that we can use to configure the name of the files and when they are open or saved. This is quite easy and not very important considering major settings of the program. Another thing it is which is possible to configure is the permission to work with multiple documents. That was something that in previous versions of the VariCAD was not possible, but I don't remember quite well which was the version, but after I suppose it was 3 or 4 years ago, it was possible to work with multiple documents where we just want to say if we want to work like that or not. Okay, and inside of this you can see that when we start VariCAD we have the possibility, for example, to restore previous open files or create a new one. We are going to see about a lot of things in this lesson, but I have the configurations, the settings, as you want to call it, as default with installation of the program. For sure, each one of you can come here and change what you want. Okay? This has to do with the clipboard and 2D files inserted in the area about drag and drop or insert and configure the vectors. Okay, these are things that when you start to work more deeply with the program, you will understand if you want to work in one way or the other. About the safety backups, okay, to allow or disallow these safety backups. Here you have something about icon size, dialog text. I have these in large size of icons, especially because of the lessons that I'm doing. Because in terms of the videos, if I put it on smaller ones, it will be too small for the users to see the video. So I like to work with the basic, but I have it with the large ones, okay? Or even to do it according to the desktop resolution. It's a little about each one taste. Anyway, we can come here and define also the sizes of the texts by default. So there are a couple of things that you can do about this. So icon size, then we have right click pop-up menu. This is a configuration where we can configure the right click on the mouse. If it acts like enter and it opens a pop-up menu, or enter no pop-up menu, or only pop-up. Okay, it's also a question of taste. Cursor coordinates, so you have it available on 2D and 3D, whatever. I like it like this. We can come here and take it out, and for example, now if I take it out, so okay, then you don't have the highlight here. Another thing is about cursor, mouse button settings, how to work with the mouse buttons. We've seen a little about this on a previous lesson, so I will not spend much time on this, but basically also how the mouse buttons, the mouse wheel, and the buttons, left and right, how they work, the sensibility or the reaction of the mouse when we are doing several things like rotation or pen or whatever. We can do it more sensible or not, depending on the values we have on these boxes. Only for the wheel, regarding the zoom in, zoom out, a configuration saying that what it enlarges or shrink the wheel towards you or not, and the sensibility. Okay, I cannot say what is correct, it's a question of personal taste. Cursor movement increment settings, a coefficient also to give sensibility to the movement of the cursor. This step back within commands, we already seen this, and has to do with the configuration on the dialog boxes that open in several commands, to have these options on the buttons, OK and cancel, or 3, OK, back and cancel. This is something that is also present in the majority of the commands, which is the step back or undo with the Control Z option. Shortcuts, we already seen this one also. Values input settings. This is something that in fact we haven't seen yet, because it's a little upfront with the variables and the tables. This is the way to enter an expression, a mathematical expression, and the example is like this. We can enter it with a plus b equals to 10, or only the expression and not saying which is equal. So, and the issue of the commas, so not very difficult. Selection of objects between commands. This is what we call about commands being transparent, which can be, some commands can be called in the middle of others. So how to work with this: interrupt after a command completion, run in loop or not, and here allow selection of objects between commands. This is quite useful because it will speed up the way we work, but this is something that is done with the user own taste. Okay. Theme settings. This is a configuration about the appearance in this area of the program. Now I have it like blue, and I can do it in silver, and this will be done after VariCAD will start again. So you have to close VariCAD and open it again. Regarding this, I need to say that some of the parameters that we do here, they have immediate effect, and others only after the session is finished. So this is something that, this one in particular, is something that is done only after VariCAD is closed and start up again. So I have the option in these menus to change them from light blue to silver or a metallic look. Just click on the one you have and it's selected. Color settings, it's something that we can do also. Change groups of colors for 3D colors, of 2D drawing or 2D colors. So I just use this one as an example, 2D colors, set selected group, and now I can change colors for some things on the 2D side, elastic lines, 2D highlighting, grid, whatever I want, mechanical parts, library colors. I can do a lot of things. So test of settings, and I have this kind of look when I will start drawing with those settings. Okay. Now on the same on a very similar command, I have the color palettes, which is something that we can do also for the backgrounds. I have in my case a light blue background, which is this one, but I can have a gray and do a preview, or I can have a metallic and preview, whatever. Okay, it's quite easy. I'll put again as I had it before, so not very difficult. Sounds, we can have a warning sound for erroneous behavior or some problem detected or not. Windows position, as the look or the behavior of the windows when they open inside VariCAD. First cursor location and the others in cascade or always at cursor location. Warning messages. Okay, there is a list of a message to turn on or off. Okay, if it is displayed or not in all of these situations. The performance, which is especially for big assemblies, the possibility to use different number of threads in several calculations, mainly for the display or calculus, volume, mass, moment of inertia, and export of 3D views, and also for the conversion of files in case of the steps. So we can change the number of threads. The maximum number is 4, but okay, again 2, 3 in this case. Performance 3D graphics, the behavior regarding the OpenGL issues. Okay, OpenGL, it is what is set by default. Okay, here we have the basic mode, check-in mode, and some options here for the highlight of 3D objects. You can put this for maximum performance or basic settings, whatever you want. The software is not very heavy in terms of resources, so I would say that leave it in maximum performance because it will not affect a lot your computer. So these are general things common to both 2D and 3D. We have several things for the 2D and others for the 3D. Regarding the 2D, we can have these display 2D objects. Okay, a buffered output, we have all turn it on, and this number is high so that I can have good quality on the display of full circles instead of having them very faceted. So I have it a round circle, and if I increase this number I will have it better quality, but please be aware that the number is also if you increase it a lot it will start to get slow. Okay, to the objects dragging. Okay, the behavior to drag to the objects, configurations regarding the input and output of this DWG DXF. Okay, how they consider the units, automatic. I think it's what is the best. Regarding texts, and some of the things will be here if there is problems. What is the replacement for the text fonts? Okay. Input, the output, it's a little different because, especially because of the DWG. What is the output version? Here I don't have a rule or to say to you which is best, but if you make something to other system read, then you should get feedback and see if you have the undefined, or if you said AutoCAD 2013 in either of the cases. It was perfect. I read it in my other system, it was good. So if it was good, then no changes. If it was not good, then lower the version. Okay, basically it's like that. And then a couple of important things also: export dimension as blocks. Okay, export dimension tolerance as a part of the dimension stack, or splines as polylines. Here it depends a little on the system you are exporting to, so it's a question of testing. Dimensions behavior, this is something that you are going to understand a little better when we see the dimensions, but basically you can look a little here on what is chosen by default. These printed options, we are going to have a specific lesson to see this, so I will not lose any time now with these options. To the object selection settings about cursor aperture size, bigger or not, and the cursor movement and the selection window selects objects, how it behaves. So it is something that if you feel important, if you are used to work with other programs on a different way, then you should come here and see if it is okay to you or not. Border format, okay, to draw it or not. This is something also to create a border in your sheet, in your format. Layer switching, sorry. It is something that you may look, and it is an important setting, because in VariCAD it's a little different to work with layers. You have layers assigned to special types of entities, like if you want to create an axis or an edge or a dimension, you have a specific layer. And if you have this option, turn it on, and we are going to make a small test, it will confuse you a little how to work with this. So I will leave this, turn it on, and now I will create, you see that I have here in this position layer called outline. And now if I go to the dimension, I will create a dimension, but you see that it changed automatically to the dimension, and maybe I don't want to have this behavior. So if I don't want, I should come here, layer switching, and turn it off. And now I will turn it off to the outline, and I will again create a dimension, and you see that the outline is fixed. Okay, so this is an important thing that you should notice, otherwise it will confuse you a little about working with it. Finally, regarding 3D, which is something that we still did not see, but let us try to see a little, not too deep, and trying to not to confuse you. Solid selection, again, the aperture, the same as in the 2D side. The basic window that we saw on the selection of the 2D object, so it is a question of selection also. Location, this is something that I would prefer not to come here now, because it is not seen. Insertion point, this is something also that has to do with the insertion of the solids, of the new solids on the 3D side. Every time you create a solid or call something that is already saved in your computer, how to deal with this. This is easy. Surface shade and reflectivity. This is a little to change the configuration for the settings regarding display for the ambient reflectance, specular or shininess. So maybe it's not easy to understand exactly what each one does, but with some tests and try to change a little these parameters, we'll see what it wants to mean, each one of those. Assembly link settings. Okay, this is complex stuff because it has to do with sub-assemblies and assemblies, and I will leave in fact these for the last lessons of this course, because this is something that we should see in detail. This is very important, and now it's not easy to see, and it's not on the path of the course. So let us leave this to the end of the course. Result settings regarding the 3D calculations, volume, mass, surfaces, which are the units or ISO or others. They are showing in both units, and we can see, for example, only as a small test, for example, to make a solid, okay, it doesn't matter what it is. If I make a calculation, volume, now you see mass, volume in inches also. So if I come to here, system settings, and change this, for example, just to show in ISO units, now if I run the exact same calculation, okay, now I have only ISO units. It simplifies, and I think it's enough to see in ISO. Finally, we have a couple of things. Step input output basically is something that has to do with the version and the type of conversion we want to use for the step. In the case of the output, the protocol, the 2003 or 2014, and the input, one option to see how to deal with wrong syntax inside the step. On the STL files, the export settings also regarding the precision units and to deal with some problems and the value. So again, this is something that, or you know exactly what type of things you need to have on the system that you are going to export to, or try, okay? And this is old import settings. It's not quite important because it's, as it says here, is for version prior to the version 2005. So it's not quite important now. I just want to tell you a minor thing to close this lesson, and it is this option here, just for your understanding and to know a little better what is going on. This is the list of system directories, and it will tell you where are, this is just information, you cannot change anything here, but it will tell you which is the current working directory, where are going to be the backup and temporary files, and the configurations are under CFG. Okay, this is just basic information, but it's a complement of all those settings that we've seen inside the tools menu, system settings. So even that what we saw in this lesson, it was with a little speed. It was my intention to show you what type of configurations we are able to make inside VariCAD to control your work. For sure that you all understand that basically these are things that you will have the need to change or to deal with a little more experience working with VariCAD, but anyway, you know already where they are, the majority of the things you know how they work, and the most important ones, as I told you as an example, the links with the sub-assemblies and others, we are going to see them along with the next lessons of the training course. So this lesson is finished, and with this we close the second chapter, call it Operation with VariCAD. See you in the next lesson, where we are going to start seeing about 2D commands and functions.